So I have two use cases. Let's synchronize over a custom field from Salesforce to Zendesk, and then let's do the status mapping from Zendesk back to Salesforce. So how we do that is we go to our scripts. So we go to the nodes and then click on connections and click here on edit connection. And this is the backend of Exalate for this particular connection. So what is happening here is we have an outgoing sync and an incoming sync. The outgoing sync is responsible of deciding which information should be sent over. So the outgoing sync on Salesforce decides, okay, for the case, what information is getting sent over. So for every entity, these fields are getting taken. We're putting this into a replica copy, like a JSON object, and then this is getting sent over to the incoming sync of the destination site. So in this incoming sync on Zendesk, this replica contains the values of Salesforce, and we are reassigning it to the Zendesk issue. Same thing happens by the vice versa, sorry. On Zendesk, we're deciding in the outgoing sync which information for a case is getting sent over. And then on the incoming sync on Salesforce, we are deciding how this information from the Zendesk case is getting assigned to the Salesforce case, like this. So in our use case example, let's go to our Salesforce, and then here we have some custom fields. For example, here, day of the week. So we take the API name by going to edit object, fields and relationships. And then we find here day of the week. So we just copy this. We go to the outgoing sync and we say replica dot can be anything on the left side, because this is just a variable in the replica. And then this is important that it's exactly the same as the API name. So we publish it. Then here we can say, for example, Thursday, we save it. And now I will show you something really neat. If we go to our case ID and we go to the node, going to the entity sync status, we can see the exact payload of this replica. So we can just insert this, and then we know if the outgoing sync is correct or not. So we can click search, and then we can say show local replica. So right now we can see that this day of the week field is added to the replica, and it's added as well a value. So the only thing we need to do now is going to the incoming sync on the destination side, and then we are going to add it to a field. So we have some dummy code here. So to do a custom field, you just copy this issue.custom field. So now we need to say the name of the Zendesk custom field. So let's take, for example, color. In Zendesk, you just take the display name. So we can here say color, and then replica. So how is it exactly coming over? Replica dot day of the week dot value, just like this. We publish it, and then let's add another update. So we'll say that it's Monday, save it. And what's going to happen is Exalate is going to redo the outgoing sync, create another replica, and then it's going to get sent over to Zendesk. So if I go to our Zendesk ticket, then here we see right now this is completed and works. So these custom fields are in synchronization. So you can really play around with it. It doesn't matter what type of data field it is. Everything can be configured with Exalate, and the Groovy scripting it's built upon. The other use case we're going to do is the statuses. So again, we need to send them over on the outgoing sync. Luckily, that's already there in default. So the only remaining thing is, let's go to connections, edit connection, incoming sync. So we can see that we are not putting the status yet. So let's do that. So let's remove this status, because we're not going to hard code it. We're going to make it dynamic. And we also have dummy code for the statuses. So not only for custom fields. So it's just necessary to cut that code, paste it here, and then we're going to say, okay, let me just expand it. On the left side, it's what's coming from Zendesk. On the right side, it's what is going to get put in Salesforce. So you can make this as you want. So let's do an example. On Zendesk, we have, for example, pending. So we just say pending. You need to find out exactly how it's getting sent over in the entity sync status, as we did with the custom fields. And then on Salesforce, let's make that to working. Okay, so that exists. So we can go here to the hash map, we can say working. So we're taking the replica status name that's coming from Zendesk, and then we are assigning it through the hash map in the status of the case in Salesforce. Right, then let's close it, publish it. And then here we can say pending. And now, again, same thing happens. So now on Zendesk, outgoing sync is getting fired, replica is getting created. That replica is going to Salesforce, it's going to the incoming sync where this script is getting executed, and then eventually it will be updated in Salesforce. As we can see here, we have the status update. So you can see it's really easy and straightforward to work with Exalate.